Alright, I'm going through question 10 on the 1.3 homework, and it kind of pretty much tells you exactly what to do, but sometimes it can be a little confusing. So I just want to show you, because this is a tricky way to possibly remembering how to fill in this chart. So let me just give you guys a heads up that I will very soon start quizzing you on this first quadrant. So like that yellow card I gave you for your notes, that first quadrant, probably not the cosecant, secant, and cotangent stuff because you can find it easily from the others, but the sine, cosine, and tangent stuff, yes. And so this is just a way to quickly get your sines and cosines, and then those will help you do your tangents. It looks like when I screenshotted this, I had my cursor right here. I think that's what that extra little line is on the pi 6 row. So the instructions say use numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to complete the following table. So it can be used as a memory tool because all you have to do is start at 0 and count. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's look at those and then we'll look at the cosines. So the square root of 0 is 0, and 0 over 2 is simply 0. Last time we talked about that the sine of 0 is 0 because that's the y value. Okay, let's just see if we get all the same numbers that we did last time in class. So this one, the square root of 1 is 1, so then we're left with 1 over 2, which is 1/2. This one doesn't require any modification. We can't simplify the square root of 2, so this simply is the square root of 2 over 2, which is what we talked about. And this one, again, we can't simplify the square root of 3, so this one's just the square root of 3 over 2. And then our last one would be the square root of 4, and the square root of 4 is 2, so that would give us 2 divided by 2, which is 1, and at 90 degrees, the y value, or the sine, is 1. This is, like I said, this is a memorization tool, because if you can remember the square root of whatever over 2 and just count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will help you remember these answers, and you'll never get them wrong. So you can make your own little chart on any test or whatever, even if you can't use notes. You just use this memory exercise to figure out the answers, make your own little chart on your scratch paper or whatever. You won't be using notes, it just comes from your brain, but you're able to write it down and then just use it as you answer the questions. So for the cosine, it just goes backwards. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that gives us the same values in the opposite order. So 1/2. And those are the same. I just think it's easier when it's not in the weird boxy format. So square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, and 1. Okay, since I didn't include my video, include this in my video, I was talking about it with students a few minutes ago. Sometimes questions like 6 through 9 on the 1.3 assignment, or questions 31 and 32, it'll tell you the quadrant by saying, hey, maybe sine is greater than 0 and cosine is less than 0. That would tell us that sine is positive and cosine is negative. So that would tell us the quadrant without saying in quadrant 2, or without saying between pi halves and pi. So there's just all these different ways of telling us what the quadrant is. And this is just another one of those ways, by indicating whether sine is positive or negative, and if cosine is positive or negative. And just from those things, we can figure out, oh, they're both positive, that's quadrant 1. Oh, sine is positive, cosine's negative, that's quadrant 2. Or sine and cosine are both negative, that's quadrant 3. Or cosine is positive but sine is negative, that's quadrant 4. So I've done my little all students take calculus reminders here on which ones are positive, and I would encourage you to use that little chart to help you anytime to make sure you're getting those correct. Okay, any questions on that?